Hello fellow shitty hot take video enjoyers, and welcome to another video of Eastern European Chuds, brought to you by your host, Matthew. Now, since my last video on TF2 Classified did so well, I thought, why not make another one? So, here we are today, again, listening to more totally non-controversial opinions. Anyway, roll the clip! Editor's note. Quick thing before we start, I'll only be covering weapons that TF2 Classic added itself, not the base game unlocks, the revised beta weapons, or the stock weapons they ported over. Now, Scout only got one such unique weapon. A brick. That's it. It's literally just a brick. Were you expecting more? It's basically just a worse version of a flying guillotine, with less damage and a slower projectile speed. Look, I know I promised myself going into this video that I wouldn't only focus on the art design of weapons, but this weapon feels absolutely pointless to use. Like, honestly, why would you ever use this thing over the pistol? I said it once, and I'll say it again. The anchor makes absolutely zero fucking sense as to why Soldier has it. Nothing about Soldier's personality even remotely suggests that he's connected to the Navy in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if anything, he's meant to be a paratrooper, due to the countless references in the game, as well as TF2's lore, such as weapons like the Market Gardener, which is reference to Operation Market Garden, as well as the voice lines like "Screaming Eagles!", which is the nickname for the 101st Airborne Division, which took part in Operation Market Garden. Not to mention rocket jumping itself. The point being that Soldier's character and personality are meant to broadly reflect the Army or paratroopers if we want to be specific. No matter how hard some of you in the comments will try to convince me, Soldier is not a sailor and therefore has absolutely no reason to use an anchor. With Pyro, things get a little interesting. This time we got two weapons, the Twin Barrel and the Harvester. Do they fit Pyro's character or personality in any way whatsoever? If you guess no, then congratulations. You win
absolutely fucking nothing.
But let's actually talk about this. In base game TF2, all of Pyro's exclusive weapons are themed around fire, whether that be through design, or balancing, or both, such as Pyro's flare guns, or his flamethrowers. It's in the name, dumbass. What can we deduce from this? Pyro's personality, aka his choice in weapons, revolves around fire. Shocking revelation, I know. So therefore, his weapon design should be heavily inspired by this. Instead of having a random double-barrel shotgun, you could have made a flare gun that gives you the same mobility options and knockback as the Twin Barrel. Now, for the Harvester, I do get the argument that it's a random tool that he picked up. However, it doesn't scratch the same itch as his other homemade weapons do. All of Pyro's melee weapons that aren't promotional items look like everyday household items that are turned into deadly weapons. Such as a neon sign, or a literal fucking mailbox he just ripped out of the ground, or a rake he stole from someone's front yard. All these look like things you'd find in someone's garage, or a suburban environment. And while a scythe doesn't really fit into that, I don't know how else to put it. Thankfully, I don't actually have that much to complain about here. Both of Demo's weapons look like they were heavily inspired by his base game unlocks, with the mine layer just looking like a heavily modified version of a sticky bomb launcher. And I think that is peak game design. In my opinion, this is what I think the devs should have always aimed for. Taking a pre-existing weapon from TF2, completely changing its playstyle and balancing, and changing its design to reflect its new purpose, while maintaining its iconic base look. And I have the exact same thoughts on the Cyclops. It looks like a hybrid between a lock and load and a grenade launcher while introducing an entirely new concept. And this is exactly what it should be. This is what all the weapons in TF2 Classified should look like. What do I think about Heavy's weapons? Well, as a Heavy main myself, it just feels wrong. Whenever I play heavy, I expect to be this Russian strongman who fires a hail of bullets, and not firing some kind of 40mm grenade launcher, which feels like it was ripped straight out of a Call of Duty mission.
Ramirez! Find some heavy ordnance and take out the armor and helicopters!
As for Chekhov's punch, well, it doesn't really scream strongman. Think about it like this. In TF2, all of Heavy's melee weapons, with a few exceptions, are just boxing gear. The KGB and GRU are boxing gloves. The eviction notice is just a pair of brass knuckles. But the Chekhov's punch is just a metal bar with chains wrapped around Heavy's arm. You get the point. Also, if you ask anyone who knows a thing or two about physics, they'll tell you that if you grab a metal bar in your hand and start throwing punches, that is the fastest and surest way to break all of your fingers and crush your knuckles.
Major fracture detected.
Enjoy your newly acquired osteoporosis. Thankfully for NG, just like Demo, I don't have anything to complain about. In fact, I have a lot to praise. I really like the design of a coil gun. Because unlike a lot of the energy weapons in base game TF2, it does something way better. It looks like something an engineer would have actually made by himself. And that is a massive step over the Dr. Gordort? Gordort? How the fuck do you pronounce this? Anyway, this is just a massive step over the
Dr. Grodbort
weapons. It's so much more consistent within TF2's in-game universe logic. Now as for the jump pad, I have only one word that I can use to describe it. It
was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
It looks just like the normal teleporter, except it has minor cosmetic differences. And it fulfills a completely different role. Absolutely genius design. Moving on. We got more peak game design, boys. Rejuvenator looks like something Medic would make. It's thematically consistent with his other weapons. You guys already know my opinion on this. It's great. Now, as for gameplay, I can't really say, since I don't play Medic, like, at all. But if there are any Medic mains watching this video, please let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you like tossing your balls at people? Oh, man. Oh, man, I can't say that shit with a straight face. The shock therapy is also great. It scratches that mad scientist vibe that Medic is well known for. I like it. Now, if you guys want to know what I think about the redesigned Kritzkrieg, Squinjim already made a video about this like a year ago. Go watch it. I largely hold the same views on this topic. Unfortunately, with Sniper, we roll back into mixed bag territory. I mean, the hunting revolver is pretty thematically consistent with his other rifles, but there is one thing that really, and I mean really, bugs me. Why on earth is it a revolver?
Why?
If you don't know anything about guns or physics, here is a demonstration made by Hickok45 showing what happens when you put your fingers in front of a revolver cylinder.
In case you didn't know, there's a lot of pressure that escapes between the cylinder, front of the cylinder, and the rear of the barrel there, the forcing cone as it's called. There's a gap there when you close the cylinder, and there has to be a gap because, you know, you got to be able to open and close the cylinder. So think about it, all the pressure from that round and powder burning and the bullet trailing from the cylinder, the chamber, up into the barrel and then on out.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't put your hand there. What I think would have worked better is if they just modeled the weapon after the M1941 Johnston rifle. That would have made the design and appearance of the weapon look much better, and it would stop gun nuts like me from having a fucking aneurysm every single time I see it. The Fishwhacker just feels wrong. It's a bad. But in base game TF2, all of Sniper's melee weapons are knives, so it just ends up feeling really out of place. And from the looks of it, it's just a functionally better Tribalman's Shiv. So then why not just port over Tribalman's Shiv model and add these balance changes to it? Why make a whole new model for it? You already ported over to Huntsman, which came out in the same update as the Shiv, and you already butchered the sandwich. So then why not just make the same thing here? It just doesn't make any sense. Now, last but not least, the section you've all been waiting for, everyone's favorite class.
My favorite class is the Spy.
So, what brilliant idea did the meth junkies behind this game decide to make for him? Well, they remove a dead ringer. 10 out of 10, roll the credits.